Welcome back, everyone. The Touchline Report is back with some more news. We will talk about the Champions League semi-finals, talking, of course, about the incredible game between Manchester City and PSG and Real Madrid and Chelsea. We will also go through some interesting news outside of the pitch. Maybe Arsenal will have a potential new owner. We don't know. We'll talk about it. And also about some changes coming up next year to the Women's Champions League. So let's start it. Let's start.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the Champions League past week, first leg. Great games. We saw Manchester City, PSG, Real Madrid, Chelsea. Both great games. Both great tough games. Uh, you know, obviously they were fighting really hard, both teams. So I think we should start off with Manchester City, PSG first. Because honestly, in my opinion, I think that was the better game, the tougher game, and much more entertaining, in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on that after Manchester City come back in that second half?
Yeah, I mean it's like you already mentioned in the first half, PSG had it. They were far superior. They were like trying to attack based on their players' speed, and like we already saw in the previous knockout games, they basically they try to defend in a lower block, and then they counter attack with like three players, 3 4 players, and they did it really well. They defend really well. They occupied really well the middle space, and Manchester City for most of the first half they couldn't get near the PSG area, and they managed to score from a corner, which was pretty good. But I mean, it was kind of mistakes of some players of Manchester City because Marquinhos just runs from m- like almost from outside of the box and heads the ball. So
Yeah.
yeah, like a defensive mistake, you can say it. But yeah, in the first half they were superior, and Manchester City couldn't do like, anything special. And on the second half, they just pull a good comeback. I mean, they you can say that they create a lot of chances, but they managed to control the game, and they still played in their own way with a lot of possession, but they managed to get like two, we can say two lucky goals, because like I mean the first one is a cross from Kevin De Bruyne, and Navas is expecting someone near him to head the ball, so
Yeah.
he wasn't expecting the ball to go all the way from across to the goal. But yeah, I mean he could do better. But in the end we had a good like free kick from
Yeah, really
Mares,
good.
but I mean you can look at the wall and you can see like it was not good enough because the ball goes between two players of PSG, and if PSG were already dropping a lot on the second half, when Ganagaya was sent off, things got even worse, and you could clearly see that he was sent off because it was more like a desperation tackle, like they couldn't control the game on the second half. Manchester City played their own way, and then they start finding the spaces. And I mean, they in the second half they could um, implement their own way of playing with John Cancelo going a little bit inside and almost playing like a midfield, like
Yeah.
he has been doing a lot this year. And yeah, they managed in the end, like two, we can say two lucky goals, two good goals, but two lucky goals in some way. But yeah, I mean, PSG in the second half, they didn't do anything to go after the result.
Yeah. As we said before, that Marquinhos goal, that really set PSG running in that first half. They were definitely the dominant team in the first half, creating more chances, maintaining more possession. Marquinhos, that was a great goal. Di Maria, he has a great stat now. In the past two semifinals for PSG, he's assisted every single. He's been included in every single one of their goals. 2 goals last year in the semifinals. He assisted. He 1 goal he scored this year. He assisted again. He's just a monster in the Champions League in my opinion. He's so incredible. His form is just picking up by so much. Yeah, I really love to see that players like just pick up their form. Start improving so much again. Um, and Di Maria is definitely one of those players. And Marquinhos goal was a great header, bullet right into the back of the net. Pa- Edison had really no chance in my opinion. So yeah, it was a good goal by Marquinhos. And as you said in that second half, definitely City were definitely the better team. PSG definitely incredibly lost their vibe. It was horrible performance from PSG, and that red card from Guy, horrible challenge. As you said, it was a desperation challenge. PSG are just willing to do anything now to hold the result 1-1. At least try not to lose the game going to the second leg. Not trying not to give Manchester City away goals because that's definitely going to be costly with this away goal rule. And that De Bruyne first goal. It was a really good goal. The curl he was able to get on the ball. Everyone was expecting to be a cross. Navas was standing still waiting for someone to head the ball. And in my opinion, if it was someone was to head the ball, it would have been an easy save for Navas in my opinion. But no one got a head onto it. No defenders, no attackers. It just curved. It was enough to curve right into the right side of the goal. It was a good goal in my opinion from really far out. Not even De Bruyne was expecting that. His face when it went in, he was just so surprised. And that second goal also was lucky as well. Really bad job by the PSG wall. Letting that tiny gap go through. Tiny mistakes like that will definitely lead to a goal. And we saw that here with this second goal. It was a good free kick from Mahrez. Everyone was expecting for De Bruyne to take it. Mahrez took it on his left, powerful shot right through the wall. Navas Navas had no chance in my opinion. I was expecting the wall to do something, even if De Bruyne shot it. But Mahrez, he didn't get the height on that ball. He definitely got the whip and the power, which was clearly enough to get them the goal to put them in front. And I think this was a very entertaining game. Lots of chances were created by both teams. PSG definitely in the first half dominating. Manchester City absolutely crushing PSG in that second half. They were the better team in my opinion overall in this game. Manchester City. I think we definitely saw that in that second half. Yeah, as you said, João Cancelo acting as almost as a midfielder, a left midfielder. Cutting in with at times taking on his right. Obviously he's a right-footed. He's obviously going to try and take most things on his right when he has time, and he had lots of time in this game. And PSG were, Manchester was piling the pressure late on in the game. Not allowing PSG to maintain too much possession. And I think Manchester City was the one that dominated possession overall in this match, especially in that second half. PSG had no chance. They didn't create too many attacking chances in the second half. They were just definitely the worst team in that second half. And yeah, Manchester City I think overall were the better team. And this was a really good game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, we saw like can say it two-sided games because like in the first half we had just one team in the game playing better than the other, and then in the second half we saw the other team doing that and playing better than the other. And in the end, it was very interesting. I mean, for me, still my favorite game this season is the PSG against Bayern, but for some reason PSG has been playing um, a lot better, like probably like in Champions League than in Ligue 1 this season, and they have been performing really well.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially because in the knockout stages, the PSG hasn't like yet gone to the second leg behind. Like
yeah.
they always won their first games, and they could go to the second leg just trying to play on the counter attack because the other team was the one that needed to go after the result. Now it's going to be the completely the opposite. So let's see.
Yeah, this is definitely a game that can go either ways. PSG they need a few away goals now. One away goal won't be enough. That'll draw them level on aggregate, but then Manchester City will still have more away goals. They're gonna have to try their best to win the game overall. Sometimes you don't always have to focus on the away goals. In this case, you shouldn't. You should always focus on winning the game, especially in this case, since one away goal isn't enough. just score a few goals, away goals. It's okay. We can think about that later. But seriously, you have to focus on the game. At the game at point, it's so important now for PSG. You know they've been waiting for so long, as well as Manchester City, two teams that have never won the Champions League before. This is going to be so big for them, and I just can't wait to see the second leg this week. And it's going to be very entertaining and very, very important for both teams.
Yeah, probably PSG will get the chance, and maybe the second chance is the charm. But and Manchester City, I mean, they have been looking for this for a long time. So
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah, next game, Real Madrid Chelsea. My opinion, that was a really good game. You know, both teams, maintaining position, creating lots of chances. I think Chelsea was the one that created more chances overall. But I think they were two very good teams going against each other. A very tough game. So, what are your thoughts on that? Especially after a great game. Two teams that are looking to win all, but two teams that are just favorites have been doing performing pretty well for the past few months.
I mean, it's incredible how Chelsea has changed in the past three
Yeah,
months. Just as as soon as Thomas Tuchel joined the club, I mean, they have been playing really well, and we saw that against Real Madrid because, I mean, in my opinion, that they were the superior side on that game, and they managed to control Real Madrid in a completely different way that they haven't seen like until now in this Champions League season. Because I mean, if we look to the game that they played against Liverpool, they their midfielders, I mean Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, they didn't have the same pressure that they had with Chelsea. I mean, Kante played really well, and he was really important. I
yeah,
mean, we had Jorginho in front of that back three line, but Kante was the first line of pressure, and he didn't give space to Toni Kroos and Luka Modric to create. And I mean, I think it was just with 1 minute or two into the game, and like he pressured Toni Kroos and he failed the pass. And I am against Liverpool. That didn't happen. They didn't face a really good Liverpool, and they weren't good enough to pressure the opposition. So I mean, in my opinion, Chelsea were the superior side. It's a good result for them because 1-1 they have a away goal, and in all the other knockout stages game they have shown they have scored at least one goal. They got some kind of advantage like from the first leg, and they always played the
yeah,
way in the first leg. And in the second leg, they have done always the same, which is basically trying to hold the result and trying to uh, capitalize on the opposition mistakes. And I mean, if they have the chance, they will score one more goal. So I mean, in my opinion, okay, Real Madrid did what they could. For me, m- probably the best player I can say it was Benzema. Even like him alone, he created a lot of chances for Real
yeah,
Madrid. In they he scored a goal too, and I mean it was a great goal. But from like the whole team, the whole collective, I don't think Real Madrid was good enough to put Chelsea under pressure.
yeah,
And Chelsea managed to pressure Real Madrid in the right areas, in the middle field, playing pressure the players that create their game, that build their plays, and that's how they got the result that they got. I mean, it's going to be very interesting how Real Madrid is going to manage this second leg because Chelsea is really good in this holding the result and basically defending. It's not like defending for their lives. No, they defend very well and position very well, and then they just take advantage of the other side mistakes. So I mean, probably have a different opinion because we are a Real Madrid fan, but Chelsea were really good.
yeah. Two very good teams. I think Chelsea was the better team in this first leg. As you said, Benzema was creating a lot of chances for Real Madrid. He basically, in my opinion, was Real Madrid in that game. They were trying new formation. playing three center backs, playing their fullback, playing their fullbacks as wing backs. I think they shouldn't have done that. I think they should stick to the normal formation of 4-3-3. I think that suits them much better. I think like as you said, Conte putting tons of pressure. I think he was the best player on the pitch throughout the whole game. I don't think Real Madrid's that type of team to do the same. They're not type of team that always applies pressure. They're more of a creating team. Get the ball out on the wings, create some chances there, put the ball into the box. They're kind of that team, a creating team. While Chelsea is more of a pressure team, take the ball, jump onto the counter attack. You have those great midfielders. They're gonna play those beautiful passes. Overall, it was just a good game. Tough game. I think Chelsea deserve one more goal, but Real Madrid still strong. Their defenders did a good job. Varane, Milchao, Nacho. I think they did a good job defensively. Holding off Chelsea there and their attackers. But that first goal, Pulisic was through. It was a good run. Not the best of balls. Not like right in front of the goal. He had to go a bit to the left. And then he also had Werner with him. But he chose to take the rest of the defenders on himself. They were all expecting him to shoot from that angle. He continued to dribble until he lured out Courtois. Got past him. Then he had an open net with just a few defenders. It was an easy goal for him in the end. Benzema goals. It was a great acrobatic goal. You know, off a decent cross from Marcelo. I think headed back in towards Benzema off the chest, and a quick, just a quick off the volley goal. I think it was a really good goal overall. I love to see those types of goals, especially from Real Madrid. Obviously, I'm a Real Madrid fan, so I love to see those types of goals. Especially, I was celebrating like crazy when I saw that goal. I was still waiting for one more goal. We saw a few more chances from Real Madrid. They weren't able to put it home. Chelsea, I think, in my opinion, they definitely deserve one more goal. The way they were playing throughout the game, and Conte, definitely the best player, applying so much pressure, doing so much work throughout the game. In my opinion, he's always the hardest working player on the pitch, no matter what game you're playing, no matter against who. He's always going to be the hardest working. He's always going to be the one doing all the pressuring, all the running, lots of defending. He's an all-round player, really. And I think he's one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's really showed that in this game. And yeah, I just can't wait for the second leg. What we'll expect, and yeah, good game overall.
Yeah, completely agree with you, and you sum up very well the way that the two teams play. And yeah, you mentioned something very interesting because in this game, Real Madrid decided to go with the back three, kind of to match up Chelsea's
Yeah.
tactics, but in the end, it didn't work like very well. And I mean, Chelsea still managed to break that three defensive line, three back lines very easily, So let's see how it goes in the second leg. I mean, I always say this because it's Real Madrid. Theoretically, that they can always get to the final no matter what. But Chelsea still wants to get there, and I think that the last time that kind of this situation happened with the coach, like a coach leaving, like at the start of the season, and then another one getting there and like going to the knockout stages, they won the first Champions League. So maybe I don't know. They can do that, but yeah, I would prefer to see um another a new team there lifting the trophy. But yeah, let's see.
I'll stick with Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real Madrid can always lift the trophy. It's like Champions League trophy. It's like it has Real Madrid name all over it. So
Yeah, 14, 13 times.
yeah, 13 times. It's a lot.
Okay. Now we can go over now we can preview the second leg. Obviously we're going to see lots of good games, two games, but lots of good action from both games. So which one do you think is going to be more exciting and going to be more dramatic?
Probably more exciting, of course, Manchester City against PSG. I think for me. I mean, PSG have to fight for the result. They have to score at least two goals. And Manchester City, if they play how they normally play with the ball, it's going to be difficult for PSG because they have to get the ball to score a goal, and they are the ones that have to fight for the result and score goals.
Yeah.
So they will be a lot more under pressure than Manchester City. I mean, and if they manage to control the game, it's going to be very, very difficult for PSG. Very, very difficult. But I mean, PSG this season already shown a lot of times that they are a good they are a good team, and especially in the Champions League, they managed to play really well i- since Pochettino joined the club. So yeah, let's see. Maybe he'll get another chance to win the Champions League. Maybe
Yeah,
Pep Guardiola will have his first chance to win a Champions League with Manchester City. I mean, I'm really excited for this game, especially because these two
yeah,
teams, it's like they have been waiting their whole life for this, you know. And I mean, Manchester City used to be like a team in the like the second half of the table in the Premier League, maybe in the second division sometimes too, and now they win Premier Leagues. They are in the semifinals of the Champions League. So I mean, like it really shows how these owners change all of that, and like how interesting is this project with a lot of teams connected with Manchester City and
yeah. Manuel, you there? Okay. Okay. Looks like Manuel. Um, his Wi-Fi
I'm back.
froze. So I'll just go on. What are you saying? Oh yeah. I think Manuel really said everything. Yeah. Two great teams. They've been winning their whole life. It's going to be tough for both teams. And as Manuel was saying, yeah, Manchester City have a lot of history. Uh, you know, they're just in my opinion, kind of like to what you were saying. They're like they used to be a second half of the table team, and I think they're a second half team in my opinion. They don't always start the game off in the best way, but they always end the game in such a great way. And we saw that definitely in the first leg. So I'm also expecting that also in the second leg. And PSG off that counter attack, they have to improve their attacking. They have to try and get past City's defense. John Stones and Ruben Diaz, such a great duo in defense. They have to try and figure out how they're gonna get past those two. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good game. So what are your score predictions?
I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1.
Just 1-1. Yeah, 1-1. I mean, yeah, but it's going to be interesting, very interesting. I mean, Ruben Diaz just called me like last night. He found Mbappe in his pocket, so I mean, more probably he'll find him in his pocket next week too. I don't know.
Let's hope so. If you're a Manchester City fan.
Yeah, if I'm not, but yeah, the Portuguese. I love all the Portuguese players there. So
Yeah, Silva and Diaz.
yeah, and João Cancelo too. Three really good players too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm predicting 2-1 PSG to win it, but I still don't that won't be enough to get them right into the finals. If it's 2-1, that'll make it 3-3 in aggregate, which means they'll have to go in extra time. In my honest opinion, I think they'll have to go to penalties. That's really what I'm
Really?
thinking. That's what I think. It's gonna go to penalties. Gonna go right down to the wire. I've always wanted to see kind of like that kind of game. Two great teams, both and just penalties. From 12 yards out. That's what I'm hoping, and that's also my honest opinion. That's what I think it's gonna happen. In the end, PSG, Manchester City. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm thinking, and I think PSG will be able to reach the finals this year. I don't think Manchester City. I think he'll go under pressure. Pep Guardiola change up the tactics.
Mm. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we've already seen in the past like these duels between Guardiola and Pochettino are always very, very dramatic, and especially
Yeah,
in the Champions League. I mean, we saw when Tottenham made it to the final of the Champions League, like that
yeah,
quarterfinals against Manchester City. I mean, with VAR and late VAR like nullifying a late goal from Manchester City. I mean, it was
yeah. Oh,
incredible game with a lot of goals. So yeah, two great coaches, two great teams. I'm excited for that game. So let's see how
yeah,
it goes.
definitely. Next game we have obviously Chelsea Real Madrid at the Bridge. We're gonna see two great teams once again play. Chelsea obviously will be playing lots of pressure again. I'm just hoping Real Madrid will be able to pull it out of the bag. So, what are your thoughts on that? And what are your score predictions?
So I think Chelsea will try to defend the advantage that they have and try to take advantage of the mistakes of Real Madrid. So I'm betting like 1-0 for Chelsea. I mean, they'll do the job and they'll stick with just one goal.
Yeah. Obviously we've seen them play with three center backs and two, just normal fullbacks instead of rather than wing backs. We've seen Thomas Tuchel do that. They could, as you said, they can just be using that advantage of an away goal against Real Madrid, causing problems. Yeah, we can see a lot of that, and Real Madrid need to, uh, strengthen up, strengthen up their team. Get their regular formation back. Obviously, we didn't see that formation work last game. 4-3 definitely suits them better. Um, if we could see Ferland Mendy back in the action, I don't think we'll be able to see Ramos. He was got coronavirus a few weeks ago. I think he has to wait 14 days. I'm not sure if that's. I don't think that's over yet or not. He was at the game last time, but he wasn't able to play because of coronavirus UEFA rules. So we won't see him. But I think Varane and Lechallen as center backs. I think that'll be nice to see. And Nacho could start on the bench. I just think they should start with the number 4-3-3. That definitely suits them better, in my opinion. They know how to play that kind of style. Benzema up top, Vinicius on that left, and Asensio, or uh, Rodrigo on the on that right. I think we can see lots of that. I think we can see lots of action from that happening. Lots of chances being created. And yeah, I hope they go back to that. And my score prediction, I think will be 1-0 Real Madrid.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it's possible. Real Madrid can always turn it in their favor. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
But I mean, like you said, 4-3 better than the other formation that they played like last game. Like they weren't familiar with it, and it was like very. I mean, you can say shameful for them how they with three defenders they still like how the way Chelsea passed through them. It was pretty easy,
yeah,
and if you have three defenders,
yeah.
you
Disappointing.
can't be like this. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
stick with what you know and what you are familiar. I mean, and try to take as much advantage of that as possible.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's exactly what they should be doing. Obviously that obviously suits them better. Three defenders. They were still weak in that defense with even though with three of their star center backs. So yeah, the 4-3-3 I think is their formation. So yeah, now we can talk about some transfers that are happening all around football. Big transfers, some smaller transfers, but definitely we'll be talking about four star players. First off, we'll start with Tammy Abraham. There's been news about him leaving Chelsea because of the lack of playing time given to him by Thomas Tuchel. I don't think he started a single game under his rule. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? If he does leave, where do you think he'll be going?
I think he'll end up in the Premier League club, like the same
Yeah,
way, the same that happened with Lingard. I think it will happen with him. I mean, I don't want to like be stuck to be like stuck with some teams that they are always mentioning in the news and like it's just rumors. But I mean, he has a lot of good like options in the Premier League, and in my opinion, he will end up in one of the teams that qualifies for like the Europa League. I think like if he can end up like in West Ham, for example, like Lingard did, but yeah, I mean he's going to stay in England, in my opinion,
yeah,
and
same.
in one of the top like six clubs, like the top finish, the clubs that finish in the top six. I meant. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But I mean, he's obviously a great player, and he first appeared with Lampard, and he actually played really well under Lampard like last season, and he was pretty good, pretty important for him, and we saw him um, bet a lot in young players. But now with Thomas Tuchel, it has been different, and he hasn't been getting the same chances that he got with. And he's still pretty young, so it's important for him to play, and he needs time. He needs to prove how good he is. So, and I think he's good enough to a Europa League team. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree with you.
he'll end up in the one of the top six teams that finish in the top six.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, obviously he's looking for playing time. Tom Tuchel definitely hasn't given that too much. You know, I don't think he started a single game under him. He's always come on as a sub or something. He hasn't since Tom Tuchel came. He hasn't been himself. You know, under Lampard, he was a great striker, great forward, getting lots of playing time. You know, he's a regular starter, but now he doesn't start any games. He's not. You know, he's not scoring as many goals as he used to. I don't even think he scored a single goal under Thomas Tuchel. You know, he's missing a few chances here and there. You know, easy chances like we saw against West Ham, open goal, he headed above the goal. You know, he really should have scored that. I mean, you know, we've seen things like this. For example, Lingard. You know, his form used to be peak high in like 2019, and then you know really dropped, kind of like Tammy Abraham now. And then now he goes on to loan to West Ham. You know, he's scoring goals almost every game, Lingard. And now I think I agree with you. I think Tammy Abraham will go to West Ham. You know, I think he'll play nicely up top with Antonio. You know, Lingard's not going to stay another season. You know, he's going to go. He has to go back to United. It was only half a season loan. Yeah, I think Abraham will go to West Ham. You know, play in the Europa League. I think obviously West Ham, in my opinion, will definitely get some type of European football. So yeah, I think that's what Tammy Abraham will get, some European football, lots of playing time, in my opinion. And yeah, I think Tammy Abraham has a bright future still. You know, he's very young. He's a deadly striker in my opinion. So yeah, I think he has a good future. I think he'll go to West Ham, and I think he'll return to Chelsea. You know, better than ever.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah. Now we can talk about Paulo Dybala. You know, rumors have obviously been going on for him for like 1 or 2 years. You know, him leaving, him leaving Juventus. You know, not getting as much playing time as he used to under Agnelli. You know, he hasn't been as creative as as an incredible player he used to be. You know, his form has definitely dropped. He's not getting as much playing time. You know, lots of things have been happening since Agnelli has left. So yeah, what are your thoughts on him? Where do you think he'll end up, or where if you do you think he'll stay at Juventus?
I mean, he's an incredible player. We all know, but yeah, he hasn't been getting the same chances now with Pirlo, and even like last year with Sarri, we saw him like playing, not playing like a lot of times, and sometimes in the bench too, and he's not getting the same playing time like he used to at the time that like we had Allegri in Juve, So
Yeah.
and at the time that they reached the quarterfinals as they reached the finals against Barcelona, and at that time he used to play a lot, and now his role in the Italian club changed a lot. So
Yeah.
he's obviously a top player. I mean, he's pretty good. He's shown in the past, although now he's not been playing a lot of games. But I mean, he's a player only accessible for big top European clubs because I mean he receives a lot of money. He's one of the I don't know like the wage bill, but I mean he obviously receives a lot, and probably he'll end up in one of like the top three leagues, I think, in my opinion. I mean, right now it's a little bit strange because we haven't heard like any special rumors about him. I mean, he's not been linked a lot with one of the top European teams. Like if you look at Mbappe or Haaland, we will talk about them after. I mean, they have been linked with Real Madrid and Manchester City, like with a lot of top European teams, and repeatedly. And Dybala, with Dybala, this didn't happen. I think it's kind of he's been like a little bit forgotten because he hasn't played
Yeah,
a lot in the past years. I mean, if it was in the past, I would say that he would end up in Real Madrid, but I think he could end up moving to. I think it'd be interesting to see him in Dortmund, but I don't think they have the money to afford him, and especially because they are investing a lot in the academy in young
yeah,
players too. So, but yeah, probably I would love to see him play in the Bundesliga because it would fit him, in my opinion.
yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you overall. Bund is a good team. I think he'd do really well. I think he'd fit well with the players already on Dortmund. Giovanni Reina. I think he fits. I think he fits their playing style. I think he can be. I think he could play more as a winger than a center attacking mid. He sometimes plays that, but I think he can play more as a winger for Dortmund. I think they could use some help on the wings. They already have Jadon Sancho that's a really nice winger. So I think he can also play as a winger, or they can play him as a center attacking mid. Leave Jude Bellingham on the wing as well. Yeah, I think that if they choose to invest as much money as they need to do to get Dybala, then I think they'll have a great team. Honestly, I think they have to sell Holland if they want Dybala. If they don't sell Holland, then I think Dybala will stay with Juventus. But in the end, I think Dybala will stay at Juventus for 1 or 2 more seasons. I think Pirlo will get sacked by Juventus by the end of the season. So we could see Allegri could return. He can get his own manager back. He can definitely get more playing time under Allegri. So yeah, I think that's what we'll see if Allegri does choose to return. And yeah, um, I think Dybala will in the end stay at Juventus, but eventually he'll leave in time in like 2 or 3 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I mean, I'm just like kind of speculating here, but for me, the most likely event to happen is that he's going to stay at Juve like next season too. So I mean, if it was in the past, like I already said, Real Madrid probably the best option and the first option, but now like he's kind of forgotten, like I already mentioned. He's probably going to stay at Juventus.
Yeah, and if Ronaldo does leave, they'll start using Dybala much more often.
Yeah,
He'll be their go-to player now. He's obviously a great player, star player. So yeah, I think we'll see lots of him if Ronaldo just does choose to leave.
yeah. That's the thing. Like as soon as Ronaldo joined Juventus, it's been a little bit difficult for him because they have all of the coaches have been trying to fit him in the different way, like because they had a really good attackers. They had Ronaldo, they had Dybala, and they wanted to fit the both, and like they haven't managed like to get a good like that good style of play that fits the both, and we see a lot of times Dybala on the bench. It's a little bit it's a little bit sad to see, like, if we compare, like, to the past when he used to play a lot for Juve and there
Yeah,
wasn't, like, any other big player like Ronaldo there, and he was like a star of Juve.
yeah. Yeah, I really hope we can see more of him in the future, more playing time for him. I really miss his play. Obviously when he comes on the pitch this season, he shows what he can do. He scored a few goals here and there this season, but I think he's capable of so much more if they just choose to play him in the way he wants to be played. Whether it's center attacking mid, whether it's a winger, whatever he wants to be played. I think they should just stick to that and play him like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, now of course we have to talk about Haaland. It's been going on for a few weeks, 3 months. Where's he gonna go? He's obviously now he's cemented himself as one of the best strikers in the world. He has to go to a better club. Dortmund, I don't think Dortmund suits him well enough. I think he needs a better team, better people to supply him. He's doing so much work by himself every game now. He's the goal scoring machine. He's the one that carries them in my opinion. So yeah, I think a bigger European team will be able to pick him up by the end of the season. So what do you think? What team do you think he's going to go, or will he stay at Dortmund?
I mean, what is most likely to happen is that he'll end up in Real Madrid. But I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Florentino Perez mentioned something like that. It's like if they at the time of the European Super League, that if that didn't go through, that they wouldn't get the money to buy better players and players like Holland, you know. And I think for me, they have been looking for him for quite some time. So in my opinion, probably he will end up there. There is also the option of Manchester City, but that will not happen because I think Pep Guardiola already mentioned in the press conference one time that they can't buy a striker, they can spend more money. They have been spending a lot of money, and now they presented big losses this year, so it's been difficult for every club around the world, and they can buy like a striker now, especially a striker like that. It's going to be pretty expensive, you know. But I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely.
if we spend like about the way Manchester City used to buy players, like 60 millions for, I think it was Nathan Ake. I mean, so if they spend up 60 millions for a player that it's like a substitute, they obviously in normal conditions they would spend like in Holland, but now it's not going to happen. I think so. Probably Real Madrid, even if they are in difficult financial situation, they will go after like one player. I think for sure this next transfer market. So
Yeah, what the wages he's asked for, it's really unbelievable. If he chooses to go to the Premier League, if he goes to any Premier League team, like most likely to City, if any Premier League team, he's asked for £600,000 a week. With those wages, that make him the most expensive player and the highest paid player in the Premier League. I think the most highest paid player every week in the Premier League. £600,000. That's a big ask. From City, obviously have lots of money. They get all their oil money. They you could just see them. It's like almost as if they never run out of money. And it's really hard for City still with £600,000 a week. It's going to be hard to afford that. Obviously Aguero's going to leave. Aguero's leaving off for free, so they're not going to get any money off that. But that's less wages to pay for. But still, £600,000 with all the players that they have, all the star players, all the wages that they have still have to pay for. I don't. It's very unlikely that he'll be going to City, in my opinion, off with those just because of the amount of money he's asking for. So I think that's way too much. So I think, obviously his dad and his agent, Raiola, they obviously went to Barcelona, Real Madrid. We've heard a few weeks ago to talk with the president's, wages, what will be expected, and stuff like that, etc. So I think Real Madrid will be able to grab him. Barcelona, $1.2 billion in debt. In my opinion, definitely won't be able to afford Holland. The only possible way to afford Holland, sell Messi. Very unlikely though. Messi is looking to sign another two-year deal with Barcelona. So I think that'll happen definitely. And Haaland, I think Real Madrid is the best option for him. Partnership Benzema, that would be beautiful for all Real Madrid fans. So him and Benzema up top. Some Vinicius on the left. They could play a 4-4-2 now. They can try and fit that formation. I think that's the formation that would best fit Real Madrid if Haaland does choose to go to Real Madrid. Benzema and Haaland up top. That'll be tons and tons of goals. So I think, and Bale's coming back. He could potentially be a starter under Zidane if his form really starts to pick up. So yeah, I hope to see him at Real Madrid. I expect him to see at Real Madrid next season. I don't. The wages won't be same with Real Madrid with La Liga. He's asking that for Premier League City because he knows that the amount of money they have, that's possible for them. The £600,000, €600,000 with Real Madrid not possible. So obviously the wages will be lowered. But yeah, I think we'll be seeing him at Real Madrid next season in white. And yeah, I hope to see him. I expect to see him there. And yeah, that's really all I have to say for Holland.
yeah, like you mentioned also Barcelona, but they are like so bad in financial
Yeah,
terms that they can't they can't do it. And we are seeing now they are betting again in the youth talent because they just can't afford to buy players. And for the past years they spend money in a lot of players that weren't really good. They didn't reach the expected level. So and they spend a lot of money on them. I mean, and now they haven't been also really good in the Champions Leagues. They have they lost. I mean, last season 8-2 against Bayern. Like this season, they lost in the round of 16 against PSG. So they aren't also getting money from their sportive performance. So
yeah,
it's going to be most likely Real Madrid because they this season they didn't sign anyone, but they have been looking a lot to sign a new player next season.
yeah. A break from transfers for that whole year. I don't think they needed any players then. But I think now they could use Holland. More attacking. I think would better suit them. They're more of an attacking team, in my opinion. Obviously, they have Ramos and Varane at defense, but I still think they're more of an attacking team. So yeah, I think Holland would be a good fit for Real Madrid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And if we're gonna talk about Holland, we obviously have to talk about Mbappe. So rumors have been going on with him for 2 or 3 years. It's been lots of rumors. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, Chelsea, Manchester United, all types of teams from all types of countries, all types of leagues. What are your thoughts on him?
I think he'll end up in Real Madrid. Not, but it's kind of dependent on what happens with Haaland. Like we have seen a lot mentioned in the news and all around the sports world that I mean Mbappe is pretty expensive and way more expensive than Haaland. And it's like they are always comparing the two because we kind of have these two options, these two incredible strikers now. Mbappe in an incredible level. Haaland appeared last season and has been incredible with Salzburg. Then he joined Dortmund at the middle of the season, and he was incredible for them. This season, the same, incredible for them, and obviously with Dortmund not performing really well in the Bundesliga. So I think, like the top European clubs, although like they are in a bad situation, financial situation, they have been looking for these two options and basically comparing them and seeing if they basically wanted to either try to invest money in Holland, which is like it's cheaper, and then you can like buy other players, or you go for Mbappe and you can't get more players because he was pretty expensive to Paris Saint-Germain, and it's going to be expensive for that team that's going to buy him. So, in my opinion, if he moves to another team, it's going to be Real Madrid. But in that case, they are going to do an incredible financial effort to buy him, and they are not going to buy any other players.
Yeah. Mbappe, rumors have been going on with him. So many teams, England, mainly England and La Liga. Obviously, Real Madrid from La Liga. He's a great player, still so young. Whatever team gets him is definitely going to be a steal from PSG. PSG, I think, in my honest opinion, we'll see him next season still at PSG. I think he's a PSG player. I think he still has 1 or 2 more years left in him for PSG. I think his contract is running out soon, 1 or 2 years. So I think one way he could go, just wait for it free. But I still think that he'll stay at PSG, and he'll be there next season. Obviously rumors have been going on with him for a few years. I don't really expect him anymore to go anywhere this year. Next year is still a possibility. So obviously, I think Holland is more likely to go to Real Madrid, and obviously if he goes to Real Madrid, you can't really get Mbappe off his wages, off his how much it's just gonna cost him without payment. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna go to Real Madrid. I think he's gonna stay for PSG for one more season, and I think they'll grab Holland, Real Madrid.
Yeah, probably it's going to be what happened, and it's pretty likely, I think, and I can agree with you. Like Haaland in the end is cheaper and it's also a really good player. And I don't think like we have been talking a lot about this Real Madrid and Mbappe like novel for like about 3 years, like you mentioned, and I think he's been improving, but now it's not the time. Not a lot of clubs will have the money to buy him. I mean, the top European clubs like they can't.
Yeah, and coronavirus hit hard. Took a lot of money, and it's gonna prove costly. But I still think Haaland's gonna go to Real Madrid and Mbappe stay at PSG.
Yeah, of course, and like we already mentioned here in the previous episode that like I mean they have been affected, but for example, if you look at Real Madrid, they spend a lot of money in the previous season, so they are in that positions also because of their own decisions, not only because of coronavirus. But
Yeah,
yeah, he will end up in PSG probably. I think.
yeah. So yeah, we talked about all that stuff. Now we're gonna end the episode off a few off the pitch news, obviously. So we'll start off with news that have been going on for the past 1 or 2 weeks. Arsenal being bought by the Spotify owner. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how all of that plays out. So basically, the Spotify owner, after all of that criticism and all of that um, confusion around the European Super League, and of course, the Arsenal fans are not happy with the owner of their club. And he basically went on Twitter to say that he would be like interested in buying Arsenal because he has been supporting the club since his childhood, and he also came in national television in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, and he admitted that he had already secured the funds. He obviously it's been I think it's been public that he has the support of three big stars of ex players, ex Arsenal players, like Patrick Vieira, for example. And I mean, in my opinion, it's not going to happen because Arsenal is not for sale. I mean, it's the owners now. They don't want to sell the club, and it's going to be like very difficult to buy it. He can make an offer, and it's like what he intended to say when he was interviewed. He's going to make an offer, then they can accept it or not. But they haven't been like publicly saying that they want to sell the club. I mean, and of course they are under pressure because of the fans, because of all this European Super League stuff. But I don't think it's going to happen. And in my opinion, he didn't have he just for himself. He doesn't have the money to buy the club, but he said that he secured the funds because so probably has someone that will support him and go in this new adventure. And I think he's also looking in kind of a long term, you know. So
Yeah,
I think he has long term plans for the club, but it's like it's dependent on the Arsenal owners' will, and I think like the Kronkers they don't want to sell the club. They never said that, and I mean I don't think that even if the Arsenal fans would put a lot of pressure on them, I mean I don't see them saying that they will sell the club just because of the fans. And they have invested a lot of money in the club, and although they are like the type of owners like greedy and all of that, and they wanted to. They probably were one of the clubs that were on top of this European Super League and helping developing it. But yeah, they have they put it a lot of money on the club in the club, so they are not looking to sell it. But it would be interesting to see in the end. Hypothetically, maybe it would be a good option for Arsenal we don't know like if he's a good owner or not until he is there. But it seems like he has like a whole strategy and a whole plan for the club and a long term plan. But yeah, not
Yeah,
likely to happen.
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's gonna happen. This, if it does happen, it's definitely not gonna happen this year. It might happen in time, 3 or 4 years. You know, he said he's ready to wait. He's gonna be there. He'll wait until he gets the chance to own the club. Obviously, the Crunks don't wanna. They already said it's not for sale. It's our club. You can't take it from us. You know, I don't want to be like the guy that says all the good things about the Spotify owner. Arsenal, the owners, they're greedy, but they've done lots of things for Arsenal. They've funded them for like so many years. They've helped them out somewhat in coronavirus. But in my honest opinion, I don't think they should stay past 5 years. The next 5 years, within 5 years, the next 5 years they should go. They're greedy owners. They don't care about football. They just want, obviously, now most of the owners, it's all about the money for them. We saw that with Liverpool's owner. We're seeing that. We're starting to see that with Arsenal's owner. Yeah, Spotify owner. He has a plan. He has a strategy. He has the support of Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Dennis Bergkamp, and he has the support from all the fans. He has all those people behind him. He's not going to back down until finally owns the club. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If by soon, if I mean 5 years, if you say 5 years is soon, then yeah, it'll happen soon. But it won't happen within the 5 years, is my prediction. Past 5 years, they'll have a new owner. Whether it's the Spotify owner or not, there'll definitely be a new owner for Arsenal. I think they need a new owner. Uh, I think they should get someone that actually likes football. Our Spotify owner, he's been an Arsenal fan for 30 years. He's 38. He's been a fan since he was 8 years old. That's a big fan. He's a dedicated fan. He loves Arsenal, and I think the Arsenal owners, they like kind of like the way they got the money, old money. Now the Spotify owner, he's getting it from like modern types of ways. Like Spotify, obviously it's all online now. It's music and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think he gets his money from like modern money. He has modern money. The fans, I think they'd rather that than old money from the current Arsenal owners. They don't even like football, so I think the owner that the type of owner that they need is an owner that likes football, is actually likes the club itself, which is obviously the Spotify owner. So I think that he will become um owner of Arsenal, just not right now. 5 years time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it's not likely to happen now, and it's just a good way to put like rumors, this kind of rumors and news now that this is going to happen and all of that with all the mess that happened around the European Super League and the fans criticizing their owners, So he showed publicly that he wants to buy the club, but I think like we already mentioned, he's ready to wait the certain amount of time to get the club. If he really wants to stay all of that time, waiting, you don't know. It's pretty much like very likely to happen in some years. Like so, we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, he already showed that he's ready for a long term project. So, but like we mentioned, in the end, it's important for the clubs to have someone that likes football or at least, and in my opinion, more important than liking football, it's that they understand in what they are investing. They have to understand the sport, the fans, and all of that. I mean, I don't mind if they are not very connected, if it's one are not very connected with football, but if he really understands the culture in which he is and understands the fans and the importance that the fans give to the club, and that for them the club is not from the owners, even if it's not a member owner owned club. It's for the fans. The club is them. It's like they own the club. It's their club. They have shared a lot of incredible moments and bad moments watching Arsenal, and they feel everything every time Arsenal wins, every time Arsenal draws, loses. So in the end, we have to, if we are going to do this type of investment in a football club, we have to understand the fans and understand the culture and the context in which you are. And probably he Spotify owner could be a good option in the future. Not like this year, but in the near future because he's an Arsenal fan and maybe he understands how an Arsenal fan feels, and he's probably going to be more close and more open with the fans.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think you said everything. Yeah, I think the owner should be more of a actual fan of football. So yeah, I agree with you overall. Next, we can talk about Avery Dennison and the Premier League Hall of Fame kit. Avery Dennison, he's one of the manufacturers of for like Premier League kits to sell them to fans and to people like that. So now they're gonna have a Premier League Hall of Fame kit. Premier League Hall of Fame had just came in. So far, it's only Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry inside the Hall of Fame. So now they're gonna have a kit. Uh, you know, for the first few fans that get it, I think first maybe 100,000, hundreds or first thousands, whoever gets it, they're gonna be kind of like a secret number or something like that. You have to download an app, scan the number or whatever is there. You have to take like a Premier League quiz. You can win some stuff. I think it's gonna be really exciting what we can see here. He's been manufacturing Premier League kits, and I think for the past few years. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what he'll be doing with the Premier League Hall of Fame kit. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it's a good way to engage with the fans. So basically, this company they produce like the patches for the Premier League and the numbers and the names for the kids of the Premier League teams, and they basically with this Hall of Fame campaign that Premier League is doing now. They basically design a kit just for that, and they are going to design some patches that are going to be in the on the kit. And basically, if you have downloaded the Premier League app, you can scan those chips, and then you can like get access to some kind of content. Maybe I don't know. It's going to be some kind of if challenges, and then you probably would get some kind of reward at the end. I don't know, but it's a good way to engage with the fans, and also a good way to with going to back in time and choosing some incredible players that played in the Premier League, getting like touching like people's feelings, and then interacting with them. So basically, choosing like they chose Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer, two really good players that play in the Premier League. Then just through that, then you get the fans engage with this idea, and then if they like it, they are going to buy the shirt. And if they see that if buying the shirt they can get access to more content, they will be even happier, and they will buy there are even more people buying the shirts, and it's a very interesting um, plan to engage with the fans. And I mean, it's good to see this kind of initiatives and this kind of ideas popping up now in football. And we have seen in the past, and we are seeing a lot now, a lot of interesting ways to engage with your fans, and it's a good idea from Premier League.
Yeah, I think it's a genius idea. Not only is it a good financial idea, it's also good. Just a good idea for the fans. They'll if they buy the share, as you said, it makes them more happy. Honestly, just to get rewards, challenges, more content. I think it'll work out great for the Premier League Hall of Fame. I think Premier League will really get good amount of funds from just from these kits. I think it's a really good idea by them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And a very like kind of interactive one. So
Yeah. Lastly, we'll talk about the Champions League Women's Plan. they've changed it now. Finally, they've been waiting for the past 1 or 2 years to finally change it, and now they're gonna have it. They're like, for example, so some of the changes they're gonna have. VAR used to be only in the finals. Now they're gonna have it every knockout stage from starting from the round of 16. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. More money will be distributed to the fans. So, Manuel, what are your thoughts on that? And can you explain it to everyone?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's going to start next year, and it's a completely, I would say, completely new plan, or with some incredible changes to the game. And basically, in financial terms, and with all of the commercial revenues and all of that, what is going to happen is basically they are going to get money to redistribute between the teams, and it's going to be 24 millions, and this value is basically 4 times greater than the current figure. So they are going to have this 24 millions, and then from these 24 millions they are going to have basically 23% just to solidarity payments, which are going to be basically distributed to clubs that don't participate in the Champions League, but they have some teams representing their domestic league there. So they'll get this money, and it's going to be interesting because the amount of money that they get is going to be dependent on the team that performs the best. So if the team gets further in the in the knockout rounds, they'll get more money to these clubs. Another thing that is going to happen is that the minimum fee in the group stage is going to be uh, for 400,000, which is basically 5 times more than the amount they are paid now in the round of 16, because now there isn't any group stage. The group stage is going to be introduced also next year, and depending it's going to depend, of course, depending on the results that you get throughout the competition, like in the Champions League of the men's Champions League. But it's estimated that we'll get uh, around like 1.4 million euros just for winning the Champions League, which is like compared for with what they have been getting, is like pretty much way more money. And it's good to see like that they are investing in the women's game. Another change, for example, that is going to start also next year, and is of course it's planned for the next 4 years period. It's the centralization of the broadcasting rights of the women's Champions League. So in the past they used to only centralize the rights of the final. Now they are going to start doing that from the group stage, if I'm not mistaken. And UEFA is going also to produce the coverage of every match from the 16 group stage that is going to be introduced next season. They have also centralized partially the sponsorship rights, which is it's really interesting from and they have done it from the group stage onwards. They have already some partners, if I'm not mistaken. They have bought already some of the packages, and like you already said, and this is more related to the game itself. They are going to introduce the VAR for all of the matches of the knockout stage. So in the past it was to be only for the final. Now it's going to be uh, starting in the knockout stages. So nice change, and in my opinion, the best one, and also related to the game, not what uh, also related to what is happening on the pitch, not outside of it. UEFA has introduced new competitions to new competition regulations to basically protect the players. So these competitions, basically, these regulations basically consists in the fact that now clubs have a flexibility to basically change their squad, so they will be able to temporarily replace the players that they want. Because imagine if they are pregnant or if they are returning from maternity leave and all of that, and there is a certain amount of time that you can play, and you aren't able to play, you aren't in good conditions to play. Maybe you can like train, but it's difficult to play. So you can temporarily basically substitute them and put new players, which is a really good change in my opinion. And I mean, it's good because we saw like Alex Morgan going to, I think it was Tottenham for a period of time after she returned from maternity leave, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
basically to recover a bit. So it's nice to see that now they are getting more and more protection.
Yeah.
And
I
in
think
the
that's
end,
a good
it's
change. Go on.
sorry, you can go on.
I was gonna say, it's a good change. Like, yeah, the what they're doing now with the broadcasting rights and what you were just saying as well. I think it's all great changes for them.
Yeah, and it's good because they are going to get more money, and and like the solidarity payments are supposedly to be investing in the development of the game, of the women's game, on the domestic leagues that will receive it. So it's good to see that they're now getting more money, and yeah, in the end they just have to try to sell a different product, because we can't compare like the men's game with the women's game,
Yeah.
because they are different. We have to sell it in its like own way, and yeah, it's good to see now that they are getting also more protection too.
Yeah, I think it's a great change for the Women's Champions League. Lots of smart changes financially, not only financially, but also just for the game as overall, and for the players, and for the clubs participating, not participating. I think it's all great change for all of them. So yeah, I think smart changes as well overall. So yeah, I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, and it's good to see because in the women's Champions League we have, of course, like the big clubs. We have like Barcelona, Manchester City, but you also have some like clubs that in the men's game are not like very strong. And like for example, two two Czech teams, the two best Czech teams are very good. For example, Slavia Praga are really good in the women's game. So they will get more money to invest on their women's team, which is good too for them. And yeah, I hope that this basically develops more the game and it attracts more attention to it.
Yeah, I really do hope so. Champions League Women's is really underrated. I think, I watch it from time to time. I think it's really good. Lots of good games. We saw the semifinals. I think those were really good. Uh, yeah, I just can't wait to, watch me hopefully watch some of them. Now that we have broadcasting rights. So yeah, I'm just hoping to have good games with them. And yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So we have a few questions from the comments. First one from the Everything channel. Who do you think is going to win in the second leg? So I think they're talking about the Champions League semifinals. So for me, I think it's going to be a final. I think it's going to be a final between PSG and Real Madrid.
Yeah, I'm going to say Chelsea, Manchester City in the final.
I know Premier League.
Yeah, Premier League final. I mean, yeah, and then we had
Yeah.
also another question, but it's exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
So
who's just gonna win the Champions League? My
yeah,
opinion. I think Real Madrid. If they do go into the final, whether if it's against PSG, I think they'll win it. But if it's against Manchester City, it might be a different story. But I think Real Madrid will win it all.
okay. I'm going to say Manchester City. Just
Yeah,
I don't know. This season I have been like really difficult to choose like one team to win it, but I'm going to say Manchester City.
Yeah, they've been a good, strong team, and yeah, I can't wait just to see who really is gonna win, whose prediction is gonna be right, or if we're all just going, both just gonna be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it's good if you are wrong. Like
Yeah,
it means that it was like very it that football is very unpredictable, and
yeah,
and that we had like good games at least. Probably, I don't know. I hope, I hope so.
yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much for watching today. That's all we have the time for. We talked about everything we could, and we both really hope you guys enjoyed. Our Instagram's in linked is in the description below. Make sure to check it out. Follow us. Subscribe to the channel, and check out the website with all the great articles that we'll be posting every day. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and keep, let's just keep in touch with us and try to follow our the Footy Report too, and read our articles, and also besides checking out our podcast, check out the other podcasts that the Footy Report has, and I think we have some very interesting ones. So make sure to check them out. And thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.
Bye.